city has invested in the Office of Sustainability and Environment to partner with community organizations to create a tree equity canopy plan. So we're really going to be able to guide our investments, and with partnership from the state and the federal government and community leaders like DNDA and Duwamish Alive Coalition, we're really looking forward to building a truly emerald city that everyone can enjoy. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Mayor Harrell. Thank you once again.
She did all that without notes. The city has the best environmental director in the country, and I stand by that. Jad introduced Commissioner Franz as saying she's the quarterback. I love that. She has a strong ground game. She knows how to spread out the offense and branch them out to move ahead. I can do this all day, by the way, the quarterback stuff. But in all seriousness, we're very excited to join the leadership of Commissioner Franz. And I met Jad, we talked some time ago in a different environment, in a different state. And it's that kind of passion that's going to get the state and the city where we need to be with respect to tree equity, which I don't even think was a thing 20 years ago. And again, I'm just heartfelt when I look at the volunteers and the community activists and the employees that are doing this, because we are unashamedly tree huggers around this state. We also like to hug people too. And there's really nothing more beautiful when you see children playing around healthy tree canopy. Our most recent tree canopy cover assessment that Jetson spoke about showed that we have more work to do to protect and grow our canopy. We start with the data. We're not afraid in this state and in the city to open up with our data. Following that data and leading with equity, as Jad so eloquently spoke about, we quickly advanced our efforts to reverse that decline once we defined it, to open it up, the data, and support our Seattle's tree canopy. So last month, our administration issued an executive order, and many of Justin's team members are here. We issued an executive order to protect trees on public property while also addressing inequities in canopy distribution that are impacting historically underserved communities across our city. Some key components including creating what we call a One Seattle Tree Fund, which will fund new tree plantings in areas with low canopy cover. Now, this executive order that we issued will also expand public-private partnerships to support new innovative funding mechanisms to maintain and grow Seattle's urban forest on public lands. And again, I want to thank Jad for your advocacy nationwide, our commissioners, Franz's leadership, because it takes resources. That's a fancy way to say it takes money. But it ensures that any healthy tree removed from the city property under our executive order is replaced with 3 new trees. That's the data that's going to drive this equity work. This legislation we propose in partnership with the City Council will strengthen our city's tree ordinance and protect over 150,000 additional trees. Now, we know it's going to take many years to see gains in our canopy cover. When I talk about looking at all of our issues in our ecosystem, I talk about, yes, we want short-term wins. We'll take those short victories, quarterback. But we also will realize that this is a journey, and it's going to take these kind of partnerships between public and private action. Our urgency today reflects a healthier, greener Emerald City tomorrow. And if we do this the right way, these kids that we see playing will be behind this podium carrying on this legacy of work that we're doing. I'm very proud to partner with the Department of Natural Resources, American Forests, and community groups here to join the Washington Tree Equity Collaborative and sign our city, the City of Seattle, onto this pledge. So over the next 5 years, the city is going to be planting 8,000 trees on both public and private properties and over 40,000 trees in parks and natural areas. And I need you to applause on that because that's some serious work. Not afraid to ask for applause on that kind of data. I also want to thank the Mayor of Tacoma, Victoria Woodards, for also signing on to this pledge, and we appreciate that partnership. Together we will grow a healthy tree canopy across Washington, living up to our promise of being the evergreen state. And again, for those that have come out, I cracked a bad joke, and I'm sort of known for doing that in my life. And when Commissioner Francis was talking about global warming, I said, well, we could use a little of that global warming today, because it is a little chilly. But in all seriousness, even the weather fluctuations we know is a direct result of what's happening to our planet. We know that. And in the work we're doing to not only hug our trees and hug our people, it's going to take this kind of commitment. Federal, state, localities working together, and most importantly, community. So thank you very much. And now we're going to hear, I believe, from a community leader.
Yes.
Willard, I believe, and
Yes.
Jazz is going to do. You do good on the introduction. You do much better than me.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Mariel. Again, another true national leader. We met each other at the South by Southwest event where he was sharing Seattle's incredible climate leadership, including with tree equity, with a national and actually even global audience. So just so grateful for the incredible work that you're doing. And I really want to underscore this really holistic vision that you laid out around tree protection, maintenance, and planting. It isn't any one of those things, it's all of the above. And so just have a city that's taking that kind of comprehensive approach and doing it in such a science-based and data-driven way is an incredible model. And so again, this collaborative is a chance for all of us to learn from each other and really get those kind of best practices and approach to be the new normal for how we go about doing this kind of work. Well, I like to often say, I think really the foundation of the whole tree equity movement is community-based organizations. So it's frontline organizations that are out there at the absolute ground level making this happen every single day and making sure that we're doing it in a way that's really rooted with community. And so I'm very excited to introduce Willard Brown with Duwamish Alive. Willard is a leader in the Duwamish Alive Coalition. He's been part of the community engagement team with the coalition for a number of years now. And Willard has an incredibly deep history in community leadership here in Seattle. He worked at the Delridge Neighborhoods Development Association, where he served as the Director of Housing and Environmental Programs and supported the restoration of the Delridge wetland. He works for over 30 years at the Seattle Housing Authority and serves on the board of the Equitable Development Initiative, where he fights for investments in infrastructure in all neighborhoods experiencing the displacement of cultural, structural, and environmental assets. And he's had a really key role in creating a dialogue in the community around the benefits of green infrastructure and focuses on wetland restoration and stewardship projects as a means of enhancing community stewardship and making connections to environmental education in schools. And so Duwamish Alive Coalition has a special event that's going to be taking place this Saturday. Think of it kind of as a follow-on to today's discussion, a volunteer event here at the Rocks Hill Bog in conjunction with the Green Seattle Partnership, and I'm sure he'll give you a little teaser about. But we're just so grateful that this effort includes partners like Duwamish Alive Coalition and many other community-based organizations, and that's really going to be the foundation for how we're going to make progress together. Pastor Willard.
Thank you, and I want to welcome all of you to Delridge. This location here is a project in process. We are working on the restoration of the Rocks Hill Bog, which, if you cannot believe this, is drying out. I can remember when I first moved here to West Seattle, I used to bring my twins to the Westwood Village, and I would have them come over here and play in the park while I did my shopping, whatever. And then when they got back to the car, I would tell them, oh no, you cannot get in the car until you take those shoes off. Okay, you're not muddying up my mats and you're not making my car a muddy mess. So we used to have to put them in the trunk. Well, guess what? That is no longer the condition here. The situation has changed so much due to climate change and other factors that we have been working to restore and bring attention to the needs of this community and the needs of this specific location for the purpose of revitalizing it and restoring it for the future and for others coming along in the future. The Rocks Hill Bog is the headwaters of Longfellow Creek, right over here. Longfellow Creek is Delridge's creek. It has one little tributary, Puget Creek, and those two waterways run through our neighborhoods and run through our backyards. And it is vital that the creek itself remains healthy and that the water levels within the creek rise because the creek level is lowering. And one of the ways we can do that is to actually increase tree canopy, whether it is in the parks, in neighborhoods, anywhere along the route of the creek would be great, would be a wonderful outcome. So with that, I want to say thank you to a number of folks. First and foremost, the Seattle Green Spaces Coalition led the fight for restoration and preservation of green spaces all over District 1, in Georgetown, in South Park, here in Delridge. Seattle Green Spaces Coalition also championed the transition of the Myers parcels from to the public sector so that it could be preserved as green space. And that was done in 2016, and it languishes. It has not yet been transferred to the Parks Department. We went to work and supported the wetlands, Delridge Wetlands Project. That was my project, the last project I led while I was at Delridge Neighborhoods Development Association. And we're moving forward this year with an aggressive plan to actually complete the project. And the Delridge Wetland is critical because it's there where community comes together on a number of fronts. It has the environmental factor, it has the education factor, it has partnership with the STEM schools right down the street, it has the support of all the community, the neighbors and the like. And so it is a very important project, as they all are here in the Delridge corridor. The other project I would like to point out that is of vital importance is what's happening on the other side of this project. There is construction work planned for this year, and this project construction budget has been provided through the King County Waterworks program as well as through Boeing Foundation. So we have partnerships with Seattle Public Utilities, Seattle Parks and Recreation, King County Governance, Waterworks. We also have partnerships with Delridge Neighborhoods Development Association, who brings volunteers and coordinates activities with students in the area, with the Rocks Hill Elementary and with Seattle Public Schools in that effort. We have partnerships with Duwamish Alive and a partnership with the community itself. So this community is composed of people of color primarily, low-income people of color, and yet they come out here and they volunteer here. They live in the surrounding areas here, and they support this project wholeheartedly. And so we are looking forward to more investment in this project and in future projects that will address the issues of climate change, the health of Longfellow Creek, and the health of our community. Thank you.
Such gratitude for organizations like yours and volunteer-led efforts all across the country that, again, are just really the foundation of this work. And I want to really note that when that incredible new allocation of federal funding that I described was made, there was a lot of discussion around the importance of making sure that those funds are distributed equitably and deeply across the field. To support organizations that are volunteer-led or partially volunteer-led, and making sure that more people are getting financially supported to do this kind of work so we can have equitable participation in driving it forward. So I want to close by I want to recognize a few special friends, partners, supporters who are here today. The REI Director of Government Affairs, Tali Harrison, is in the crowd with us. As well as the REI State and Local Government Affairs Manager, Tom Bugert. Seattle City Council Member Dan Strauss is not able to join us, but the Mayor, we mentioned him as a key partner in this work. Friends of Seattle's Urban Forests, a key partner, Tree Pack, the last 6,000. Christopher Williams, Deputy Superintendent of Parks for a City of Seattle, a critical partner in doing this work. You've heard a few of the other commitments to the Washington State Tree Equity Collaborative mentioned, but I just want to mention them again. In addition to City of Seattle, the City of Tacoma, thank you, Mayor Woodards, the Carl Maxey Center in Spokane, for the 300 Trees organization in Bellevue, and again, the Duwamish Alive Coalition, which we just heard from, critical folks who have, and organizations that have made commitments to this new tree equity collaborative. And lastly, I would just like to give really profound thanks to our friends at Washington State DNR, who have just been incredible partners to American Forest in orchestrating this new development of this collaborative, and just so grateful to the City of Seattle for kind of coming in as an anchor partner to help us get this started. We've got really important work ahead of us. I maybe just ask if, in closing, just think for a minute about everything we've talked about and the profound importance of trees, and just give yourself a moment to imagine the neighborhoods that right now don't have this healing benefit, that don't have that cooling shade, that don't have that improved air quality, that don't have just the mental health and peace, serenity that comes from just looking up at a tree on a spring day. And just allow yourself to imagine every neighborhood having this blanket of beautiful, healthy trees spreading out so that we can all enjoy that. We can all have those life-giving benefits on a daily basis. That's what's at stake here. And we're going to make it happen in Washington State. We're going to lead the country and the world on how to get this done through the right kinds of partnerships. And so really grateful that you helped us all get this started the right way here today. And we're going to go put our sweat equity into tree equity and go do some mulching over there in a little bit if you want to come join us. Thanks so much.
We're happy to take some questions if people want to, or you guys can go get warm. It's up to you. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll just go ahead, sir. I have you right here. Hello.
Hi, friends.
I won't answer all of them, I'm sure.
I hope you will, actually.
So right now in the city's land use committee council meeting of the city council, there is a proposal to increase construction area to 85% impervious surface, and that will kill all of the large trees if this proposal comes forward. Today in Olympia, there's a proposal to eliminate all single-family zoning, which will allow sixplexes on every single lot, which will reduce all of the large tree habitat in the state. So you're congratulating each other right now, but you have this killer process that is working against you based on private property owners' rights. Just love to get some comments back from you on that.
Would you like me to?
Sure, I'm going to reintroduce Director Farrell on this issue. And for those that didn't hear the question, one of the parts that resonated was some considerations that the Seattle City Council are considering with respect to surfaces and how this aligns or misaligns with our tree canopy. Perhaps Director Farrell could answer that component of the question.
Yeah. I'm happy to root the answer in data, and also start by just talking a little bit about our values in Seattle. And I think Mayor Harrell stated this really clearly in his remarks, that there is no conflict. There is no inherent conflict between increasing our tree canopy and increasing our housing. Full stop. We need to do both, right? And so one of the things that is really important about the legislation that was transmitted to the council is that it is responsive to the data in the tree canopy assessment. And one of the things, there were two areas where tree canopy loss occurred at the greatest levels. One was on our public lands. This is why Mayor Harrell's executive order increases in investment, 3-to-1 plantings, protecting our trees, and increasing investment on public lands. So our parks, natural areas were where we saw actually the greatest loss. The second area where we saw the greatest loss was in our neighborhood residential zones. And it wasn't as much due to development as it was because of trees coming down because of age and health, and because folks are taking trees down for a whole variety of reasons. And so where this legislation really is going to have positive impact is by tightening up regulations where someone can take down a tree. So it tightens that from the current looser regulations, and will actually increase more. There will be more increased trees protected. So that's really important. And then as far as the state legislation, we probably can have someone comment on that more thoroughly. But the legislation that's before the council, I believe, really threads that needle between increasing housing, which we have to do. It focuses on multifamily zones, which are a tiny portion currently of our city's zone land. and then really focuses again on those areas where the data is showing where we lost the most canopy cover. So happy to turn it over to the mayor if you want to add to that, but
That's a great answer. We all can agree.
I obviously am not involved in the legislation that's moving in Olympia, but I can talk to what Department of Natural Resources is doing since across the state in the context that, as I said, we have woefully underfunded urban forestry in our state for a long, long time. I have Ben and Jen, the Ben and Jen team here, who have been leading this effort, two of them, in all of our state to bring more resources to our cities. I think what needs to happen is not only leveraging the data and where are we woefully missing the mark when it comes to tree equity in every single neighborhood of our state, but also how do we help bring the tools and resources to our local governments when it comes to ordinances and policies around maintaining the trees we already have in our communities, coupled with also bringing the funding investments at the federal, state, and local level to those communities to ensure that we're gaining and growing more, even as we see a rapidly changing land use because of our housing crisis. As I think Justin said, we have to address both our housing crisis and our climate crisis, our tree crisis, and we believe they aren't mutually exclusive, but we have to be forward thinking. We have to understand how significant the problem is already today and put the policies in place to protect them while putting these significant investments going forward in every corner of the state. Other questions?
Any more friendly questions? Okay, 3, 2, 1 Seattle. We're gonna do some work. Let's do it.
Thank you all.
Okay.